David, can you hear me? I can hear you. Oh, awesome. Okay. Recording all of this, and I'll have all of the chat. So if you have questions today for anyone, comments, please feel free to put them in the chat. And if I
Yeah,
don't address them tonight, we'll address them later. Sorry, Abby.
no, go ahead. Yeah, so March 27th, we're looking to do a community trash pickup where we'll enter all of our community and encourage the neighbors to go out there and pick up trash. A lot of times we want to see change happen, and when it doesn't happen, we get frustrated. So we are going to be the change in our community, and we're going to lead in those efforts. On March 30th, Sam has the Urban Core Family Fun virtual fair happening. So we're excited to see what all that entails. On April 3rd, we would love to see a drive-through Easter egg hunt for our children. April 22nd, a board member meeting, hopefully in person, where we'll go over our legislative agenda updates as well. May 15th, we hope to do a drive-in movie night. July through August, we're on hiatus. On September 17th, we have a board member breakfast in person, location to be determined. October, Sam is going to spearhead the candidates forum through the UCCC. And in December, hopefully we'll have our 9th annual holiday tree lighting. Unfortunately, last year it was canceled due to coronavirus, but hopefully this year we will see some progress and some changes for the better in our community. And something I did not mention in the calendar of events, but it's definitely coming up soon, is we are working on having an entrepreneurial kids market where the children will have different little stations, one with lemonade, one selling bracelets, another one selling things that they come up with. We hope to host it at the Brooklyn City Center, but all of that is tentative and still working on those final details. The purpose of the market is to teach our children to be entrepreneurs, to manage money, and overall fun and safe activities that our children can do. Coronavirus has definitely affected our families, specifically our children. So part of the BHA and my personal agenda is to bring forth community events for our families and our children, as well as pushing forth this legislative agenda with the support of the community. So that's what I have, and I'll be sure to add it in the comments, in the chat.
Thank you very much, Abby. I appreciate that. And you see a full calendar of events. I welcome seeing all those activities, and I know especially in this time of the pandemic, it's hard having to do a lot of these virtual events. I look forward to when we can do some of our in-person family events. And thank you.
Sam and Abby, you know what I will add to that? I know it's tough, but I think that we should do it to add to the itinerary of the scale of events. A voter registration. We were very successful with our voter registration last time in Brico. Again, that should be part of our objectives to make sure that more young people in the area vote. And especially this year, we have important elections coming up here in this area. We have the elections for the mayor. Also, we have elections for, I will say, District 3, which belongs to Commissioner Carollo. You know that I have been involved in the recall campaign and not ashamed to say so. We are continuing saying that we need recycle faces, move them away from elected seats. We need to bring more young people into the political scenario. And we need to do that. We have to.
No, perfect. Actually, Ernesto is always a great segue for me. The three goals, big goals that we're looking at this year are, Ernesto mentioned, first of all, the education in schools and really focusing on crime, and this is particularly the youth deaths that are happening in the urban core. And as we mentioned at our last education forum, the reason education is so critical, we see it as the third leg of the stool of the community. And look, at the end of the day, whenever somebody's moving into the community, the first thing they ask is, how are the schools? And can I send my kid to the school? So if we can fix the schools, we know we can fix the greater ills that are troubling us in the urban core. Um, we're also looking at building future leaders. Ernesto just mentioned it. Too many of the same faces, recycled names, family dynasties. It's time to really get the young people who are dying to be involved, and they're out there begging and dying to be involved, get them involved at every level, not just running for office, but as Ernesto mentioned, registering to be a voter, um, as a voter, going to advocate on behalf of yourself and your community and what you need. Um, Obviously, voting in the people who will do what you need them to do. And then looking at staff levels, because we need people working at city staff level who remember what it's like to live in the core again and why those issues are so important. And again, elected officials, new elected officials. So we're going to do that. We're going to have workshops, and we'll, as we go through the calendar, I'll point out some of the workshops that we'll have monthly that'll be working to educate folks on how to become a better citizen. And then last but not least is we want to increase membership. And look, I'm putting it as flatly as I can. Money is speech. As a Citizen United has taught us, money will help you make your voice louder to the folks and the powers that be to see the change that you want to see. And so we need to have more folks joining the fold, giving of their time and their talent, but also of their treasure, so that we can start having an effect on the landscape and changing it to what we want to see and what the core needs to be. And so that means board membership, but also individual members. We're looking down to the individual person. Everybody has a stake in the urban core being better and stronger, from babies all the way up to the folks on the way out the door. So let's get them involved. And the more folks we have, the more powerful our voice. And we're only as strong as the number of folks and the number of dollars that we have to back our voice. So without further ado, I want to introduce you. One of the things that made us successful this year were the alliances that we made. Some of you will notice that right now I have up Christie House. Christie House has been a very important partner for UCCC this year and also for BHA throughout the years. For those of you who don't know, Christie House is our child advocacy center dealing with some of our most needy children, predominantly sexually abused kids, but any kids of any kind who are in a place of abuse and of need. They reach out to community organizations like UCCC and BHA because they use us as a vehicle for educating the community about this issue and where to go and get help and get services. So we appreciate their partnership and look forward to them being part of our events long term, and are excited to continue the relationship. But we do have others. One of the others who we just recently met is our friend Bernard Ziskovich. Bernard, if you wouldn't mind taking as about 30 seconds, would you tell us a little bit about yourself and what got you involved with UCCC.
Sure, I'm happy to do that. As you know, we're the architects for the new school by the public schools. So we were asked to be on a panel. So in that regard, I think we had a very effective and interesting panel discussion the other day. I think it was very well attended. And we're happy to do what we can to support the objectives of the organization. As you know, we're a firm located in downtown, so we're not in Brickell, but we're very interested and involved in downtown activities. And I think that, you know, from time to time, we can be a resource to the urban core. I can't promise you that we're prepared to be on a board or be that involved. We're happy to support and be a resource. But as far as our firm goes, we do a lot of urban planning, architecture, a lot of schools, and we're growing, and we have multiple offices, and we're happy to be helpful.
Thank you, Bernard. Bernard Ziskovich was the sponsor of our Urban Core Education Forum, and we so appreciate it. And Bernard is humble. Ziskovich is very well regarded, both by the school district, who has a lot of contracts with them for schools, but also by the municipalities. You saw the mayor, if you attended our education forum, you saw the mayor gushing over Bernard and how brilliant he is at urban design. Speaking of the downtown area, because again, Urban Core Community Coalition is more than just Brickell, I'd like to have Amal Sol-Kabani introduce herself.
Thank you, Sam. Hopefully you guys can hear me.
You can.
Thank you for inviting me to this meeting. I feel a little bit like an intruder because it feels like it's a board, enclosed meeting. Anyways, so I think DNA was created pretty much alongside BHA, and back in those days, the idea was quality of life. And while DNA went dormant, it did revive again about 5 years ago when I took it over. And needless to say that I kind of look at this job as being a whack the mole. It's always a reactive to whatever the city commission throws at us, and constantly being on a reactive mode versus a proactive mode. So I'm actually impressed by the fact that you have, for example, a calendar of the year, whereas we operate more on a where are we gonna jump next because they threw something at us. So the DNA pretty much the footprint is from the Miami River on the southbound to the Adrian Arch Center, if you will, on the northbound. And we have been doing a lot of work with Sam, especially when it comes to the education. We love how you are driving and opening and leading the way for getting schools in our neighborhood. And when I say in our neighborhood, regardless whether it's on the south side or the north side of the river, as long as we have a school for our children. So this is a top priority, and I could not agree less with Ernesto when he said at the beginning that it all starts at home, it all starts with education, and it all starts with preparing the next generation to be well equipped so that safety becomes more of a matter of fact, if you will, once you have properly educated the new generation. We do intend, and we have been obviously part of UCC, we do intend to make it more formal. We have had, a lot of challenges, mostly on the, music festivals and noise abatement in our neighborhood that kind of sets us a little bit back in terms of being a not just an in-person contributor, but also a financial contributor to UCC. So we will get there. I promise you that, Sam, because, I'm a huge fan of you, and you say jump, I say how high. we do look forward to having UCC spearheading one of our general meetings, which is we already put it on the calendar for May 20, and by which obviously education is going to be the primary topic. We do share a lot of the same pain points, if you will. The quality of life extending from safety, security to beautification to now this crazy wall that they want to put on Biscayne to shield from the sea rise, and what does that mean to the environment? Now recently we are hearing that we've been actually breathing air that is polluted because all of the cruises are needing to run their engines, but since they're no longer traveling outside of the port, all is coming to us. And then finally, our state legislator has agreed for each service provider to have their own 5G towers. So basically, we in the urban core may end up with a Verizon 5G tower next to an AT&T 5G tower next to a T-Mobile 5G tower, because God forbid they should ever think that there are humans actually living in those residences. I mean, they planned for a commercial / residential, but they don't think that we exist. So like I said, it's whack-a-mole in my life. I'm daily interacting. I sometimes feel like I'm a switchboard. And I'm actually impressed that you guys can strategize where I'm more, reactive. So thank you for inviting me.
No problem. Look, again, the reason I always invite all these presidents of organizations is you guys are great at segues and giving me a segue. Again, that's why UCCC was formed. And I remember the day I met with Ernesto in 2014 and said, if we're speaking on our own as BHA, then forget about it. It's easy for them to dismiss us, even though as an organization, we've done very, very well at advocacy. It's easy for them to ignore us and say, oh, it's only BHA, it's only DNA. But if we could organize all of the groups in the urban core and we spoke it with one loud voice, there's no way to ignore us. There's too many to ignore. And hopefully what that also does is spread out the work so that you don't feel like the solo whack-a-mole trying to argue on the same issue that we have as a group. So that right now, the biggest thing is making sure, we're all in the same church and we're preaching to the choir. We just need more parishioners and more folks in the choir, and help us with that. And we're going to be working every month with different area organizations, associations, groups of buildings, a building, anybody who will listen, to try to send the message out that the core needs to get organized in order to see progress. Let me have Mr. David Luchterhand, who's been a longtime board member of the Brickell Homeowners Association, introduce himself.
Thank you, Sam. Good evening. My name is David Luchterhand, and I don't have really any prepared remarks other than I have shared Ernesto's vision for a number of years, and that is education, education, education. Really, to me, everything flows from that: family values, crime, all of those things that we need to address are all basically the incubator is education. If you don't have it, you get it. If you have it, you don't get it. To me, it's that simple. So the coalition is one that I think Sam is right. We bring to force or to bear all of these different groups with one unified message. I don't know if the gentleman from the school board is still on, but I would add that the big thing I'm concerned about is what I think, and I don't really know because I'm sort of on the periphery of this, but is the lack of vocational training inside our secondary school system. And I think vocation, if you look at Germany and the apprenticeships that have basically created a manufacturing society with exports, and the need as we currently have it to bring manufacturing back to the United States for a number of reasons, we absolutely have to have a vibrant vocational operation within our school system regardless of what anybody says, we have to have it. And if it means dealing with social, I don't know, views that working in electricity or working in a sewer is a bad social cast. If you just look at the money, you'll find out that being an attorney isn't even close to being a plumber. So if you look at it that way, I don't look at education that way, but clearly some do. And as a consequence, especially if we're talking about well-paying jobs where people can actually do things and have families and afford nice things that they want to keep and not have destroyed, you have to have an apprenticeship and vocational program inside your secondary school system. So that's my push. Of course, obviously, I care about beautification. It's one of the reasons I got involved in PHA to begin with, was the lack of response on the part of the city to all sorts of things that I couldn't believe. We were trying to posture ourselves as an international destination, and yet the amount of trash and garbage that I saw in the streets was basically commensurate with what you would have expected, and pardon my saying so, but downtown Port-au-Prince or other places I've been. So having said all of those things, you know, Sam, I applaud this effort. I want to be as involved as I possibly can to try and push the educational agenda that we have as a collective. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Well, again, great segue and great comments. I can't say it any better. That leads me to having Mateo. And I'm sorry, Mateo, to put you on the spot. I know you were just going to be a guest, but it's nice having you in the room. And it actually sends the message that I wanted to send to the rest of the board and the organization, that there is some new blood in town. As Ernesto has been saying, we need new blood. We have new blood on the school board. The seat has been held for over 10 years in one hand. There's a brand new sheriff in town. And I can tell you, I had a meeting with her last week, and in the week that I've met with her, it's a totally different outfit. So I look forward to the work ahead that we're talking about doing. But Mateo, would you introduce yourself?
Yes, hello everyone. My name's Mateo Lopez. I'm the administrative assistant to school board member Miss Baez Geller here in District 3. For those that don't know, Miss Baez Geller, she has been a teacher for 15 years. She taught up until the midway through the pandemic. She was still teaching January, February, March, up until the end of that school year. So she understands what it's like to be a teacher. She was a teacher during the pandemic. She was my former teacher when I graduated her class. And as all you guys really need to understand is that she really cares about students, teachers, administrators. I have been a product of the feeder pattern here in District 3. I grew up in Bay Harbor. I went to the K through 8, then I went to Beach High. So I have my experience as a student, and I'm glad to be here, giving back to my community. And I do agree vocational training is important. We have also been working to try and see in high schools, usually at the end of the day, one of the classes that are offered is that you're able to go to, let's say you have a job in high school, you're able to go to work. And one of the things we actually been wanting to incorporate is more vocational options for students that want to look for that kind of work. So I definitely am thankful that you said that, because it shows that, you know, it's something the community really does want. And I believe that it's something that will be really helpful for our students to know that they have other options.
Thank you so much, Mateo. And actually, to show you that the board member is a person of action, we met, I said last week. She called me over the weekend to say, Sam, first of all, on the Southside Park issue, the developers had sent her a letter to get the support for the project from the school district. And of course, it's her area. And so she said, well, before I sign off on it, I met with folks from the UCCC and BHA at the Education Forum, and there's some issues around it. Would you meet with us to address their issues? Because I won't give you a letter until you address their issues. That meeting is happening tomorrow morning. Abby and I will be meeting with the school board member, with the developers of the Southside Park project, and just addressing our issues. And that was called by the school board member. She's right now working on getting us the visit to Booker T. Washington that we've been waiting for 3.5 years. She's already started talking to her colleague, Dorothy Bendros Mendengal, and I met today with Miss Rojas, who immediately said to me, oh, by the way, send me BHA stuff because I met with Miss Baez-Geller and I want to stay informed with BHA. So kudos to Miss Baez-Geller. I appreciate her living up to her word. And we're here, as I told her, to support her in getting through the needs of the urban core because they've been ignored for too long. And thanks, Mateo, for being here tonight. Appreciate it.
Of course.
Yeah.
Um,
Sam, one question.
Yes.
Are we having a South Side Park redevelopment meeting on Monday evening?
Abby, do you know of something happening on Monday evening? I don't know if Abby's still there. I don't know of anything, Ernesto.
I do
know
have it in the schedule.
It's on
I
the
have it
schedule. Okay. Let me text Abby and we'll see. I don't have it on my schedule. I know of this meeting tomorrow, and actually I'll ask.
Because one of the things that I don't know, I didn't know about the meeting tomorrow, by the way.
No. She just called this one.
Okay, because one thing that I would like to bring to the table, the fact is that there is a historic house in that park right now, which is part of the redevelopment. And you know what it is inside of that house?
They told me it was storage.
I discovered through the city of Miami that the city of Miami, in that historic house of the people that should be educational, the city of Miami has a warehouse, a storage warehouse in that house. I honestly, that is a slap in our faces.
No, that is.
It is unacceptable that we taxpayers, first of all, that house was never part of the park.
Exactly.
They moved it there because they didn't have any other place to put it.
And it was
not only that, it's supposed to be historic and educational. And it is an storage. It's a warehouse. So
well, and you saw in their plans, they want to.
I mean, I'm glad that Mateo is listening to this, because the school board member should be aware that these are the things that are taking place in our city.
Yep.
You know?
Well,
I mean, our elected officials are laughing in our faces.
Here's the other problem.
And then they want our votes. That's the most indecent. Indecent.
It's disrespectful.
You know, I mean, I'm so upset about it that you cannot imagine.
No, so, it's so upset. Well, and look, as I told the school board member, when we met last time with them, they said, oh, no, you don't have any agreements with the school to use the park. So we don't want to talk about the school and the park. And that's what I told the school board member. You have to assert with the city that, no, maybe we didn't have a paper agreement, but we have been using the park and we need future use of the park. And we need our city to argue for us as its citizens that we have access to our park, not tell us, oh, well, we're getting a new fire station. Don't worry. Don't worry about the park.
Well, I need to find out about the meeting on Monday evening, because
I will.
Last week, the same day that I had the meeting and that event that that I went and the mayor was there, guess who was there? The developer.
Of course.
And they compromised that they want to sit down and not negotiate, but listen to our concerns. So I need to know whether that meeting is going to take place on Monday evening or not, because it's in my calendar.
And actually, I'm going to send you the link for tomorrow morning's meeting, but I will ask. That's the first thing I will ask, is about the Monday meeting, because I didn't know anything about it.
Is Abby available now, or she's
I don't see her. She might be putting the baby down.
Okay.
Before I forget, one of the other key components and people that
the developer
on the ground.
The developer.
One of the key people who help us on the ground is our building managers and our management companies who can get our materials and our cause before the people and before the residents. So I want to introduce you guys to Maritza Gonzalez, who again is a longtime BHA board member and an active member of, I should say an activist for the Brickell area. Maritza, would you introduce yourself?
Yes, how are you? Yes, Maritza Gonzalez. I am the general manager for Brickell on the River. I run 738 units, buildings for the last 16 years. One of the reasons that I decided to be involved in the BHA is that I used to attend this meeting just as a spectator and look and listen to everybody, all the city officials, everybody. And I was very surprised that Brickell Avenue has some kind of division between the 15th and the 25th. It was Brickell for everybody. They never talk about Brickell that happened in this section. And I was very surprised because I was thinking, well, Brickell Avenue is almost till the end of where we have the bridge, Fed, and then we cross to the downtown. But that's one of the reasons that I got involved and I started like, hey, why don't we kind of also, which, it was great. I can't complain. They've been very helpful with us. They've been helping us actually. Lots of building next to our building join the Brickell Homeowners Association, like 500. I did not even know if Brickell 500 is still a member. It's around join the Brickell homeowners. And the Brickell Homeowners Association has been helping us. I can't complain. They've been helping Brickell on the River in many ways, traffic issues, sidewalks, the scooters. But one of my projects that I would like, before I even retire, okay, that I would like to push through Brickell Homeowners Association is the little park.
Yeah.
That Samuel knows about it, and I have put it on the table many years ago, and we're still dealing with it. If it's possible to kind of push that on the agenda for the urban court, because it would be great to have that kind of little park for our kids, for our children. We have too many. It's like nowadays you walk and break a lot.
Did we lose Maritza?
Lots of nannies with strollers, young couples with 2 or 3 kids. So we really need also a little park in that area on 5th Street because we don't have anything. Right now we have Riverside next to us. A lot of moms comes with the strollers. I don't know if they open daytime because I'm not putting attention to that anymore, but I remember that when they opened, moms used to come in the mornings with the kids and the nannies with the stroller because it was a kind of area to be out. So that's one of the reasons that I joined, make a little difference in that area where our buildings are located. And the other thing that I would like to talk to you about it is, I am sure, I don't know if you're all aware, that Related is coming up with the multi-tower project, which is going to be residential, offices, retails, and hopefully, I haven't even heard anything from city that you send to the building, some kind of notification to the owners to participate in the process of pulling out permits, or I haven't received anything. Actually, the board and myself met the other day and we engaged with our legal with the legal department or legal, consultants to check on this project because it's going to be it's going to be an impact on us. Okay, we're talking about 3 towers next to us. Okay, the traffic as it is, Fifth Street is horrendous.
Oh.
I don't know if you're aware.
I am
we have
aware.
2 or 3 buildings. I don't even know how many apartments. The traffic is horrendous. The sidewalks are horrible. And now that we're going to have this construction in a few months, I not even understand how is it that we are going to control traffic, residents coming out of the buildings, coming into the buildings, egress, ingress. I really don't know how is it that we're going to do this. So also if the Brickell Homeowners Association can assist us in this and kind of see how is the process and how is it that is at this point with the process. So that's it. I'm glad to be part of this Brickell Homeowners Association.
Thank you, Maritza. No, and look,
Yes.
One question, Marixa, is this construction coming up? It is on the 444 Brickell Avenue?
Yes, that's the one.
Where Capitol Grill is located?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
Okay.
That's 44 Brickell. This is where Capitol Grill is at this point, and that is supposed to be where the hotel is going to be. And I know for a fact that Related now have engaged with Baccarat to build that hotel. And the other 2 towers will be residentials. At least the only good thing about it that this project was brought to the table 5 years ago. And at that point, we met with the developer, with Related, and the attorneys for the association. And the towers were going to be 77 and 87 stories tall. At least I know now that they're going to go down on the stories. I think it's going to be 47, 50 something stories rather than 80 or 77 stories. But definitely we are very concerned about this new development that it was postponed for the last 5 years, but it's coming up anytime. So we just want to make sure that Related as a developer, give neighbors or the neighbors, my Brickell, some kind of, a commitment to us that they will clean, that they will, that they will make it, easy for all of us who work or live there.
Maritza, you're not the only one facing this. He's not on today, but I talked with Andres from BNA, and there's a major development project coming on 38th Street and Biscayne that's going to tie up the road for years, and there's already major traffic congestion. And as I told him, because he said, well, I don't know if it fits with what you do. I said, yeah, of course it does. First of all, it's still the urban core. But second of all, it affects all my other folks, because everybody down from downtown to Brickell will be affected by all the new oncoming traffic. So he wanted us to get the FDOT to come with city officials and talk about how these kinds of projects could be approved when you have such crazy traffic problems already. How do they get these traffic studies that approve this, and why are public officials letting these things go? And especially now during COVID, most of this stuff is being done on Zoom meetings and being pushed through either staff or committee levels as fast as they can do it. So they have very little public input. It's happening everywhere. The city of Miami, the city of Coral Gables, Doral, you name it. And so we're on it. We'll see what we can do. Maybe we can do a workshop and an urban community core conversation at your place specifically on this issue.
But Sam, one observation. I'm a little bit confused here.
Go ahead.
Okay. Andres, it is an appointee by our commissioner in our district to approve the projects.
On the planning and zoning board, yes.
Yeah, so I mean, he votes on them, and you're telling me that he doesn't know anything that is going on there? I mean, I'm sorry, there's
No, no,
something
no,
wrong
I
here.
hear you. I hear you, because
There
you
is
have
something
to,
wrong here.
you have
I
to
mean,
atone.
he sits on the board, okay, where all the projects are being presented. And he has a voice and a vote. So I mean, I can talk to him, but it's something here, I don't know, it's like, you know, I mean, the orange juice is coming from the orange or from the apple. You know, I'm sorry, but there's something wrong here.
No, and look, the argument he made to me is he's only one vote. But
Yeah,
still,
but he knows the project.
he knows, that's right. He should be advising the people.
And the commissioner has maybe 2 or 3 votes on the board. I think that he has 2 votes.
Yeah.
So
Each of
I
them.
don't know.
What
I'm confused.
Ernesto and Sam, at least the information that I've been trying to gather on a daily basis about the project. Like, for example, I got an email from someone telling me yesterday that luckily the permits are still pending. Okay, the city have the permit application and everything, but they haven't approved anything yet. So in a way, this is the reason that we are getting legal from Brickell on the River to see if we can do something about it. Of course, there's nothing that we can do in the sense that they're going to approve the project anyways, but before that, we need to sit down with the developer and kind of prepare a plan or some kind of agreement like we did when they built my Brickell in front of Brickell on the River. We sit down with related group. It was very productive. It was an agreement for damages, for this, for that. So we are planning to do the same thing because this is a very different, this is going to be tower by tower, very adjacent to us. So, you know, this is our pool deck in between on the 11th floor. Perhaps the structure, we not even know at this point, I'm not an engineer myself, but we looking into putting together an engineer a report because we want to make sure that they understand that our building is in very good conditions at this point, no issues whatsoever with the structure. And if something happened when they start putting together the foundations, they can damage our own foundation. So we are trying to gather as much information. I already have contacted few people that I know are related. They have given me some kind of information, but once again, it's kind of crazy that nobody knows anything. We haven't heard from anybody. So
no, well, you're not going to be the only voice. I'm on it beginning tomorrow morning, and I know I'll work with Abby, but we'll work the phones. Let's see what we can find out, and that way yours is not the only voice on it on the issue. But no, that's a good one, and trust me, I got it. Look, guys, because we're running and I want to make sure that we have plenty of time to talk about the other issues. The one thing that this again segues me into is if we didn't learn anything, being a pandemic baby, we learned a lot this year. And what we learned is that all those truths that we hold evident as Americans, you know, those sayings, we the people, more perfect union, life, liberty, happiness, all those things are earned. They don't just come to you because of some birthright. You have to actually earn them. Go out and make the officials give you the things that allow you to live that life of liberty and happiness. And that government policy and government making in absentia without public notice is heretofore got to end. We can't do this anymore. The people have to be involved. The people's voice have to be heard. We have to re-engage on our jobs as citizens. I think we forgot that citizenship is not a passive engagement. It's not about sitting down and letting government happen to you, because frankly, we're seeing the results of that. It's about participating and actively participating in telling your government officials who work for you what it is you want, how you want it, and when you want it, and then work to make them do it. So I'm going to get off my soapbox, but last year was about we're here for you and how can we help. This year for UCCC, it's about we're here working together to get the change that we need. And the way we do that is by the giving of our time, our talent, and our treasure. We've got to get the kitty up. So without other comments, I did want to, any ideas that folks have on how we can engage our goals to be successful, I would appreciate. If you know of folks who would make good board members, or buildings or associations or neighbors or a group of friends who should hear about what UCCC is about and what we're doing, please let me know. Send me an email, send it to Abby or Ernesto, and we will follow up on it. Same thing about building the future leaders. I'm not going to go through the whole calendar. I did put a link for you in the chat section so that you could see the 2021 Urban Core Community Calendar. I do want to highlight a couple of events that you're going to see on it that talk about this building our futures leaders effort that we're talking about. One of the first things you'll see listed in March is the Change Miami Campaign Advocacy Workshop. The purpose of this workshop is to, and it's monthly, we're going to do them on the third Thursday of the month, is to train the community on how to engage in becoming an active citizen of their municipality, their state, and their federal government. And doing that at every level. What does that mean as a voter? Are you registered to vote? What does that give you in terms of rights? Moving up to the community activist level, persons who are making comments at public meetings, contacting public officials to advocate on behalf of issues, then moving up to level of staff, working for your municipality, working for your government to see those changes through, or volunteering on public boards and committees so that, again, you can have a hand in policy making, all the way up to how do you become the next mayor, the next commissioner, the next city manager that really brings the urban core issues to the fore. The way we're going to do this is we're going to work with our community allies and partners. He couldn't be here with us tonight, but the vice mayor of the city of Coral Gables, Vince Lago, was very interested in our efforts and what we're doing in terms of community building, and offered to help out in any way he can. The candidates that we've been using at our candidates forums, we're going to invite them to come and be guest speakers at our workshops. We'll invite folks from the Ethics Commission to come in and talk about how do we do this and ethically serve your community. And we'll also work with different organizations like the Good Government folks out of FIU, other community associations, to again have panelists to talk about what the issues are and how you can best serve the community that you want to serve. So those are that's the Change Miami Campaign advocacy workshops. And again, those will be on the third Thursday of every month. First one we're looking at will be in March. Abby mentioned the Urban Core Virtual Family Fun Fair. That's we're going to hold that periodically throughout the year. And it's really a way to engage families in the Urban Core. We're going to invite community organizations like museums and the zoo and after-school programs, vocational programs, churches, everyone to come out and talk about what they do, what kind of services the families can get from them. And then we'll also do a little workshop on how you can get involved in your community and better advocate for the live, work, play, learn promise that you were made by your municipality. And again, we'll do those when we can do those. They're going to be virtual at first, but when we can meet in person, we'll do those in different parts of the urban core, working with the city in a park or a nearby community center, and invite folks who are in the area to come and have just a day of fun for the family. The other thing I wanted to point out to you is our urban core community conversations. These are town hall meetings, much like the town hall meetings that we hosted this summer. For those of you who participated with us this summer, you'll know that we hosted quite a few really great town hall meetings, and really bringing in public officials and having them deal directly with our issues at these events. And the way I've structured them is we're also going to visit each of our partner associations and or buildings. And then I've asked them to give me the themes that they want to cover. And UCCC will help get the people in the room who can answer the questions that they need answered. So as I mentioned, BNA wants to do something on development and traffic. We now have another one with Brickell on the River. And DNA wants to talk about schools in the downtown and central business district. And I'm waiting to hear from Key Biscayne and the roads folks about what issues they want to talk about. And then the last thing that I wanted to point out on the calendar is the 2021-22 Urban Core Education Forum, which is in November. And it's just after the elections. The elections are in November 2nd. We're going to have some candidates forums before that. But then right after, on the 20th of November, we have our next education forum. Hopefully it will be in person and hosted at Miami-Dade College, the conference, Chapman Conference Center. We've already started working on that one. Vocational and technical training will be on the agenda, Ernesto, at every level, and incorporating that into our schools. We're also going to bring up the school safety issue and what's happening with the Together for Children initiative and the money that was supposed to be taking care of all these youth deaths that we've not seen anywhere. And we also want to talk about programming for the new schools, making sure the magnet museum program is there, but we have also vocational and technical training, and also iPrep and any of the, magnet super programs they can put in the school to attract kids. So that's the calendar. Any other thoughts, questions, comments? Any other leads on things I need to look into?
Sam, are we still engaged with, let me see. Are we still engaged with Mercy Hospital?
Loosely, I know Abby is. I was going to give them a call just to talk about UCCC. The only hesitation I have is they were very hesitant when we told them that we were going to do a separate organization to advocate, because they didn't want to get involved in politics. They liked the education forum and other things, but they didn't want to get involved in politics. I see Abby still dealing with her child. I'm going to make a call to them because I want to attend their education event that they do with the Brickell Key Biscayne moms. and see if they're interested. If you know anybody, let me know.
Yeah, I know the reason that I asked this is because the other day, actually, a resident of mine that happens to have two children, apparently, she went to one of these children's educational seminars or thing that the Mercy offered through Brico Homeowners, and she was very impressed with it, and she asked me about it. She knows I'm a Brico Homeowners Association board, so she asked me that, and I said, okay, I'm going to ask the question. To be honest with you, I really don't know. So that is the reason that I asked that question.
Okay, well, I will get in touch with them, and actually, everybody should know by now, there is a video recording of the education forum. If folks missed it and want to get caught up, the link is there on our website, uc3miami.org, uc3miami.org. And actually, we're on all the social media and Instagram. All you have to do is type in UC3 Miami and you'll find us. But we need help. Spread the word. If you can get me in a room, I'm going to be doing a lot of virtual meetings. I would love to, if you can get a group of people together, I'd love to set up a Zoom meeting, talk about UCCC, how they can get involved, and then listen to some of their issues and start getting to work on what they need us to. Ernesto, you have any closing thoughts, comments?
No, I hope that people get more, involved, because without involvement, I mean, there is no army, and with a few soldiers, you cannot do that much. So, I mean, it is commitment. It is what it is.
Yep.
Everybody complains, but nobody acts.
It's when the rubber meets the road.
No participation.
It's when the rubber meets the road and you have to
Yes.
do something. And I always say, I tell my kids this all the time. History is made by those who show up and do something, not by the folks who talk about it. Because everybody thinks they went to the March on Washington, but there were only a few people who got on buses and went all the way to Washington to hear Dr. King speak. So no, if you want change, you have to have action. And that means you got to get involved. I hear you.
I mean, it is what it is. I mean, it's like, I frequent go to radio stations, to talk shows.
Mm-hmm.
And I always hear these callers expressing and airing their concerns and complaints or whatever. And, I continue saying, I even said it on air. I said, it is nice that you want to express your, deliver your anxiety and air your complaints on radio. It's beautiful because, it's like, stressing out.
Mm-hmm.
It's a therapy. It's a therapy.
Exactly.
Somebody's listening to you, right?
Exactly.
But you are preaching to the wrong core because the people that you should be complaining to is the elected officials.
That's right.
The people that are there, that people are making your
Yes.
in the commission, in the county, those are the people you have to complain to.
Yep.
Because in the radio station, everybody is going to listen, but who's going to pay attention to you when you don't go to the polls and vote? So, it's very nice. But,
Yeah.
It's remarkable. It's
I mean,
remarkable.
you can complain all you want.
That is
but,
so
Total disconnect.
yeah.
And then they sit in front of the TV.
You turn on the radio.
Why? Why me? Why did this happen? Why me? Because
it's so. I mean, it is funny, but at the same time, I like to cry.
It's tragic. It's funny but tragic.
It's like the other day. Marisa was telling me that sometimes when she has anxiety or she is stressed out, she walks into a restroom and she starts pulling her hair, okay, just to release tension. And I told her, well, lucky you.
You got
if I can go into a restroom,
He doesn't have any hair.
I don't have no hair to pull. So
You see, mine is going. That's why I'm wearing a hat.
I guess me, instead of running 23 miles in a marathon, I have to run maybe 50.
Yeah, there you go. Ultra
Let
marathon.
it go.
You're
Let
not.
it
Oh, by the way, ultra. You brought to the attention now ultra.
Exactly.
Who sued the city for the ultra? Papi Mango.
Thank you.
And now
Who sued
and
and
then
won?
and then the casino issue.
And Ernesto, you did it for Key Biscayne. You did it for Key Biscayne, and they didn't even come out to support
No,
you.
they didn't show up. They didn't show up to the press conference. When
They
I
didn't
look
even show
around,
up, I remember.
when I
Yes.
look around, I'm looking for them. They were not around.
Yeah, I
Hey,
know.
we
I know.
persevere.
I remember.
We
I remember.
persevere, and we'll win. We'll win. We persevere, but we need more foot soldiers, and
Yeah.
that's the goal this year. I'm going to be hitting the ground. We need more foot soldiers, and we need more.
Well, I pray for you guys, and you pray for me. That's all I can say.
Thank you very
Let's
much,
pray for
guys.
all of us.
I
Take care.
Thank you.
the time. I'm going to send a follow-up sometime next week on this meeting, but I really appreciate the time. Any ideas, send them my way.
Sam, remember to check about the meeting that
Yes.
Monday night,
No problem.
and then let me know about tomorrow, because
You got
tomorrow
it.
I have meetings too. So
I'll send it to you right now.
okay, take care. Take care.
Take care, guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Bye.
Abby. Good night, Abby.
Bye.
Ernesto,
Bye.
Sam,
Take
say hi
care.
to your wife.
I
Sam,
Take care.
will. I will.
okay.
Bye
Good
bye.
night.
Good
Bye-bye.
night.